everyone. I'm Cheryl Strayed, and I'm so excited that you joined me for this first episode of my brand new podcast, Mind Over Mountain, where I'll be having conversations with women athletes about the epic and interesting things they've done in their sport and in their lives. I wrote the book Wild about my long hike on the Pacific Crest Trail. And in that book, I explored all the meaningful ways that the body can teach us what the spirit needs to know. How it is that doing hard things and going outside the comfort zone can remind us of our courage and strength and sometimes transform our lives. On this podcast, I'll be having conversations with women athletes of all varieties, from climbers to skiers to basketball players to rowers to fill in the blank, asking them about the ways that they too have been transformed by their sport. I'll ask them about their victories and triumphs and about their challenges and barriers and mistakes. We'll also be bringing a bit of Dear Sugar into the mix. You might know me as Dear Sugar, the advice giver. I've been doing it for more than a decade now. And on each episode of this podcast, I will be answering a listener letter with my guest. And we'll be answering not from that place of the all-knowing, we're going to tell you what to do and boss you around perspective, but rather from the perspective of two women who are right there in the mud with you, struggling our way up to the top of the mountain. What my hope is that you're going to feel like part of the conversation, that as you run or walk or fold the laundry, you'll be feeling inspired, uplifted. Maybe you'll laugh and cry with us as we hear these stories about how these amazing women did the epic things they've done. My very first guest is the unstoppable Tamara Walcott. She is a champion powerlifter, a world record holder. She's also a strong woman, a mom, a coach, and an all-around inspiring woman. Let's listen to my conversation with her. Tamara Walcott, welcome to Mind Over Mountain.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to talk to you. I can't even tell you. I mean, you are the coolest. You are a world record powerlifter extraordinaire. You also have competed in strong women events, and you're just an absolute delight and inspiration. I have to say, I follow you on Instagram and you always lift me up. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, that's my goal. People think I'm lifting weights, but I'm lifting people too. So.
Oh, yeah. You need that on a t-shirt because it's really true. I mean, you're just a beam of light. And also you do things that, let's face it, most of us can't do. The first question I have for you is, what does it feel like to be a woman? And as you know, like the story many of us got from the beginning is like, women aren't strong, right? We can't be strong. What does it feel like to be a woman who is among the strongest in the world?
You know what? I definitely have to say that it feels surreal sometimes because I think I've always known that I've been strong, but I think I finally found something to channel it in. But people see the physical aspect, but they don't realize just how mentally strong I am, right? Because if I don't believe it, then I can't achieve it. So I would say it feels good, but sometimes surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Isn't it like, do you ever go back there and think about the little girl you were and the aspirations you had for yourself and the things you wanted to do? And I mean, do you think of that little girl that lives inside of you that now that you are this strong woman?
Yeah, that little girl didn't think that she was good enough. That little girl didn't think she was strong enough. She didn't think she had courage. But if that little girl can see what she became today, she will be like jumping for joy. So yes. Yeah, she was scared. But now the big her is courageous and strong. So yeah.
We're going to spend the next hour talking all about that journey because I think that what you just said is, in my mind, at least, like the whole point of the meaning of life. It's not like some career achievement or some, we all look for those things, but really that internal sense that you made that little girl inside of you proud and you proved her wrong when she was saying, I can't, or I'm afraid, or, I won't be able to achieve those things. You proved her wrong by going on and doing it.
It's for me, like the little girl in me used to get picked last for everything, but now she's the number one something in the world.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. That's crazy for me. But then when I think back, like the little girl that got picked last for everything actually brought so much to the team and people didn't realize it until the end, if that makes sense too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, how true that ends up being. So, well, like, tell me more about that specifically. Why did you get picked last? What were you like as a little girl, and why would you be somebody who maybe others wouldn't see your strength or your potential?
I think for me, I didn't raise my hand. I was shy. I wasn't as courageous as I am now. I also was chubby all my life. So people just looked at it like from a sports standpoint, like she's going to run the slowest. She's going to keep us behind. She's not going to be able to get over this. But I think one of the things that little girl did is I had strength, right? I would be that friend that could pick you up and put you on the monkey bars so the littlest one could get over first before all the other people did. So it's like I just used what I had to get what I got done. So I think I got picked last because I was chubby and people didn't think that I was fast or they didn't think I could do it good enough. And that's just always what I was left with.
When did you first, like, what were your first forays into doing things physical, or, as a kid, what kind of activities were you involved in at the beginning?
So when I was in school, like I played basketball. I think that was something that I gravitated to. I wasn't the fastest, but I learned the moves fast and I was a brick house. That's what my coach told me. He's like, you're a brick house. Nobody can get around you. So they called me a power forward and I believed it. I think that's one of the things. So I didn't believe in myself, but if someone gave me an ounce of that they believed in me, then I kind of like fed off of that.
Right.
So I've always been that girl. So I went home telling my mom, like, Mom, I'm a brick house. I remember when I was in ballet, one of my ballet teachers, who actually was a cousin of the family, like a distant cousin, she said in front of the whole class, like, you need to do jazz because you're too chubby to do ballet. Like you can't point your toe. You're not doing these movements right. And I remember going home crying to my grandmother and she's like, go back and you point that toe, Tammy. You point that toe. By the end of that dance season, like the kids were coming to me asking me like, how did you do that plie? Like,
Wow.
how do you get your feet like that straight and things of that nature? So
how old were you when you were doing that ballet?
I think I was like 7 or 8 because I remember going home crying because I had to order my ballet outfit. They didn't have my size. Like, so there were just things like that I was exposed to growing up, just realizing that I was bigger than the world around me. Right. But that even though I was bigger than the world around me, like I could still get these things done.
And now, I mean, it's interesting because embedded in that story of being like so young and joining ballet and having the teacher tell you you can't because you're too big. And then, so there's the shame, you do go home crying, but then there's also the triumph, like you muster up your courage and say, I'm going to. That seems to be a pattern that has repeated itself. How did you find your way to powerlifting?
So after having both my kids, one of the things that I did is I really ballooned up. I stopped taking care of myself. Like I literally was just eating myself to death. Taking care of the kids, doing homework, cooking, washing dishes, laundry. I got lost in it all. My marriage, I felt like two ships passing in the night. He was a gamer. I was working in corporate America. Long hours were work from like 9 to 8. That's a lot of hours out of the house, right? So as soon as I had to turn into mommy mode. So I ballooned up. Because I just started eating myself. That's the only comfort that I could bring. By the end of that marriage, I pretty much decided that, you know what, I'm going to be a little bit selfish. I remember telling myself, like, I'm going to be a little bit selfish because I have to save my life. Like, there's moments in that people don't even know about. Like, I auditioned for My 600-Pound Life and I didn't make it because I wasn't big enough, right? Like, there's like, I literally was fighting for my life along the way. And I just decided I was going to be selfish. And my selfishness was, I'm going to take time for me. I didn't know what that time was. I started out doing like one-on-one coaching in a small group fitness setting. Then I started doing Taibo. I just started to move my body because I said, I want to be here to live for my kids. I'm going through this divorce. They need me. They need a mom that's going to be here to see them in their later years. Anything could happen to anyone, but I'm going to try my hardest to be my best self, right? So I started working out, and I ended up at a gym, saw people screaming, throwing chalk, yelling, and I'm like, what? These people are crazy. What is going on here? But I put that bar on my back, and by then I had lost 100 pounds. And my first squat was like 125 pounds or something. It was the ugliest squat ever. I think I have the video. But I literally was moving the weight that I lost, And I was like,
Wow.
do this, I can do anything. And I just continue to show up for myself every single day. Yeah.
That's, what's amazing about that, I love that just metaphorically, is that you're bearing the weight that you shed.
Yeah.
But in, when you had it on your body, it was weighing you down and compromising your health.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you had it on your back, it was a symbol really of your power.
Yes. And that I can control it and it won't control me. Yeah.
That's right. And okay, so I got to tell you, I'm not even like, I don't even have a 1 foot in your league, honey. But last summer, so I've lifted weights off and on throughout my life, but only last summer I learned what powerlifting is specifically. As if I always thought that was just, a term that other people use for like weightlifting, but it's a specific thing. And I started powerlifting every week. I powerlift, and I'm curious. Could you just explain to listeners, what exactly is powerlifting?
So, as a coach, because I'm a coach now in powerlifting, powerlifting ultimately is max power for 1 rep. So at the end of the day, when powerlifters are competing, they're competing to get to that optimal 1 rep max. So over the course of a couple weeks, you may train volume where you're doing a bunch of reps. Also, powerlifting only entails 3 different lifts. So you have the squat, you have the bench, and you have the deadlift. And your goal is to move as much weight as you can for 1 rep after a course of time. So that's ultimately what powerlifting is, just chipping away week over week to get to your 1 rep max on your squat, bench, and deadlift.
I want to ask you about competition and why we left off with you lifting that squat that was equivalent to the weight you lost. Mm-hmm. How did you then transition into saying, hey, this is actually something I want to compete in? I mean, most powerlifters are like, I'm just going to work out and do my best. You decided to bring it into the competitive world. Tell us about that.
I actually just stumbled on it. So it's not anything that I went to research or anything that I just found out about. Like, I was in a gym with a bunch of powerlifters. But at that time in the gym, I did not know what I was doing. Like, I did not know what a proper squat, bench, or deadlift should look like. I just had to, but I'm really good at scanning the room to see who looks like they're not killing themselves and who's doing it best, right?
Right.
Because you can know a good squat versus one that you're like, oh, you're going to twist your ankle. So I stayed in the room and I found who those lifters are that I should mimic myself to, right? And I just kept going back. But I stumbled on a group, and at that time, Daniel Fox, my late coach, I'm going to try not to cry because I've been thinking about him a lot lately. He passed away about 2 years ago, but
you don't have to try not to cry. We can cry. Okay. We're allowed to cry together.
Tamara. I know. So I worked in that space and I kept showing up and I kept coming back. And at that time in that larger body, I think I was still like 380 or so. I want to say like 360s or whatever. Mm-hmm. I remember people like, why is she here? Like, you should, like, I literally heard people saying she needs to do cardio. Like, why is she here? Like, why does she keep coming back? And then after a while, I just kept coming back and they're like, I guess she's staying, And then the stickers and the stares and everything got less and less. But Dan and his wife never made me feel that way. And he would always bench, squat, and deadlift. I was like, dang, I want to do that. One day he heard me and he's like, I'm a coach. And I was like, he's like, this is a sport. And I was like, really? So a couple months in, I was like, I think I want to sign up for my first meet. And my first meet was in 2018. And he's like, do you know what you're going to do? And this man believed in me. And it goes back to believing in Tamara. Like, you give me 1 ounce that you believe in me, I'm gonna show you that I can, right? I ain't gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you. And we started training together. My squat was horrid. Everything was horrid. He changed my form. Told me how to properly squat, bench, and deadlift, gave me the technical parts of it. It was not easy. And I think my first year that I competed, I think I squat like 386. I came in first. I squat 386. I deadlift like 396. And then my bench was only like maybe 267 or something like that. But
only 267. Okay.
Yeah. But Dan believed in me like nobody's business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that man poured into me. And at that time, going through that divorce, he became more than a coach. He was like my kid's uncle. Like, I've lived a life, and growing in the islands, I've lived a life of always living with someone. We lived with our grandmother. I moved here. I lived with my sister. We lived with my mom.
You grew up in St. Croix.
I grew up, like living with someone all the time, and my kids going by their dad every weekend. I had to throw myself into the gym. I would be there all day. It wasn't a bad thing either. But Dan became family, and that man believed in me so much that I had no choice but to believe in myself. I remember looking at him one day and I was like, do you think I'll be able to squat 600 one day? And he's like, you absolutely will. And we did that together in 2021. And I just wanted to make him proud. And because he always believed in me, I just believed in myself, and I had no choice to. And I did not ever think that I would be here, but he knew it. Like, he knew it before I knew it,
And why does that appeal to you? Like, why does that, that idea of, testing your limit for that, like giving it all in this one lift, or sometimes people call it a pull. Why is that appealing to you and exciting to you?
I think for me it's important to see myself and see things through, but also it teaches you to never give up, because when you go to that bar, some days the weight moves and then the other day it doesn't, right? But it doesn't mean that you're not good enough in that moment. It just means you're not ready. And that's what life is. Sometimes we face things in life, just like we face it at the bar where it's not moving right now or you can't get it done. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that you're not ready, but you have to keep going. So I think why I keep coming back to powerlifting, why I love it so much, is that 1 week, it's like I can't even break the weight from the ground. And then the next week, I've discovered this inner energy, and it's like I can toss it in the air. So it's just about not giving up and coming back and just pushing through every single time. And that should apply outside of the gym as well.
Yeah. What I love about it, and like watching you do your lifts, which you're always just like so exuberant, and you've got, even if you don't, you usually have a smile on your face, but even if you're not smiling, you emanate a smile, and I think, to me, it's really embedded in that word power, because it is about that confluence really of your physical power, but as you say, that psychological and emotional power. You have to be mentally present in order to do that one really hard thing. And that's such a great lesson, isn't it, for us, for life, because you bring that kind of sense of confidence or stillness or faith or whatever it is, and you can do the impossible. And I think powerlifting teaches us that.
Yeah. But it goes back to believing it so you can achieve it, right? Because putting 600 pounds on your back is not easy. And I know you say for me that it looks like I'm not smiling, but I can see that inner sense of me being calm. It's because I have to control the controllables. I have to be aware. I have to be intentional. And then also, I don't look like what I've been through in my life. So my lift don't even look like what I've been through. Yeah. My CNS is probably like, this is heavy, girl. But we don't, because I prepared for it all my life. Yeah.
What do you mean when you say you don't look like what you've been through in your life?
I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot. I take myself as an onion, right? There's so many layers to who Tamara is and what she's been through and the things that she's overcome, from being a little girl who has dealt with just a lot of mistreatment kind of growing up, and just some bullying growing up as well. And I chose to just be this radiant energy that you see because of my mom, because of my sister, because of the strong women in my life, I chose joy, right?
Mhm.
So just like the bar that I lift every single day, I bend, but I never break because I don't look like what I've been through. If I look like what I've been through, I would have been an asshole. I'm sorry if I use that word, but I would have been someone that was mean, someone who doesn't believe, someone who sees the cup half empty. I chose not to be that because when I have that weight on my back, it is heavy, but I'm going to get it done because I prepared all my life for it, not just physically, but mentally.
That's beautiful and powerful. And I think it certainly resonates with me because I think that, every day is a choice, right? Like, are we going to just live out as the product of our traumas or the things that have harmed us or the things that pain us still maybe? Or are we going to say, I can carry this.
Mhm.
This burden is mine, and we all have burdens, and suffering is part of life.
Yeah.
And, I think that is, also, I just want to say, when you talk about bullying and you talk about the things that you went through as a younger woman, people assuming you couldn't do things because of the way you looked, because you were in a larger body. And I've been a really active athlete, fit person too, in a larger body at different times in my life. And it's so amazing to me how much people bring a story to your body based on how it looks, and specifically how much you weigh, how big you are.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
assume if you're thin, they assume you're fit. If you're not thin, they assume you're not fit. And I just want to say thank you for rewriting that story for so many of us. And I'm curious about how that, you, like you said, when you went back to, when you found your way to powerlifting, by the time you found your way there, you had lost 100 pounds. How do you feel now about being a lifter with a body that is, that you're sharing with others and saying, I'm now powerful? You're not going to tell the story. Tell us about the body story that you want to share with others.
I feel great about it because when I started, there were not a lot of women that look like me. Not a lot of plus size women on the scene, not a lot of women in the sports, but they are busting out the scenes now. Like there are women that are like, you inspired me to go lift. You inspired me to move my body. I've lost 100 pounds by doing not one lick of cardio, just from weightlifting and resistance training. So I think that's a heavy burden, but it's a great burden to carry because all I had to do was be me in order to inspire so many other people. And I did not change. So it just feels really good. It feels really good to see people now that look like me as well, inspiring the ones that are going to come behind me. So,
right.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you replaced a lot of shame with a lot of pride.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I had a mantra a couple years ago. My strength is my sexy. Like being big, bold, beautiful, and strong is a great thing. And your strength should be your sexy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so, at any size, whether you're right,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what's so cool. That's what's so cool, I think, about your message and about, resistance, like just any kind of strength training, right? Is that you're really, you're only competing against yourself at the end of the day. Like, it's like you have that bar and you can either lift it or you can't. And It doesn't matter if the person next to you can lift double what you can lift or half of what you can lift. And, it's interesting. Like, here again, it's these two aspects. What I heard you say when you're talking about what Dan gave you as your coach, the technical stuff. I want to talk about that because it's really fascinating. I think sometimes when we just look at people, lifting a weight, we're like, yeah, you just go up, grab the bar, lift it up. And it's actually so detailed and so specific. And, micro movements are happening there that make it possible. But also the psychological aspect where you're saying, like, somebody saying to you, you can do this. And I would say, and I wonder if you agree with this, Tamara, but I would say, you said he believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. But what I think is deep, deep inside yourself, like the truest, wisest voice inside of you actually does believe in yourself. And so when Dan said that to you, that wise sage in you is saying, he's right. It's just that it's so hard for us sometimes to believe that deepest truth in our gut, because of course it's replaced by all those other things that say, oh, you can't, or you're too you weigh too much, or like those people snickering at you in the gym, and our true voices get drowned out. And so when you meet somebody who sees your beauty and your power, like that is, we need those people to extend their hands to us, but it's really up to us to say, yeah, I know this at my deepest level.
Yeah. I think as a coach, what I tell my clients always when they start with me is that, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out what you already have inside. It's in there. We are all natural born fighters. We come into this world fighting for our lives. You think you're not a fighter? All I'm going to do is pull out what you already got inside, and I'll kind of guide you through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
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 Yep.
In my work as Dear Sugar, giving advice, I always say the same thing. I'm like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what you know already, but you're afraid to know.
Yep.
I'm curious about like your process with, how you execute a lift, what is going on in your body and your mind, and how you train yourself to do those moves correctly and with all your power.
So I think one of the things, I'll start off with my deadlift, because everyone talks about my deadlift setup when I approach the bar and I'm walking back and forth. Like, at the end of the day, like people think it's a setup, but I am actually rooting into the floor. I am firing up my quads. I am tightening my back. I am sitting in and activating my glutes. There's so many things that's happening. It looks like show, right? Like you see that diamond. Like it looks like show when I throw my hands, but none of that's for show. Like that is me becoming one with the weight, and that is me seeing the end result before I even start. Like I tell people all the time, before it's already done. It is already done. Like I have learned to be very delulu in a sense of whether I have this or not, I have to believe it, right? In order to get it done. So I've conditioned myself that way, but there's so many micro things that you can do that can make or break a lift. Foot placement, hand placement, not firing up your quads, not getting the right brace into your belly before you start. There's breathing, there's bracing, there's moving, there's being intentional. There's so many times that I see people work up to a heavy set in weight and they haven't corrected the lighter weight first, but they're still going up. Like you gotta correct it at the bottom in order to be successful at the top. How you start is how you finish. If you're not hitting depth with the lighter weight, best believe you're not gonna hit it when it's 2 times heavier. So I think a lot of those things people tend to miss. And that's the one thing, too, as a coach that I'm very intentional about, because Dan poured that into me. It wasn't about how quick we can get to 600. It was how optimally and easy I can get there, chip by chip, brick by brick, pound by pound, right? And doing a lot of the high volume reps and high volume sets. Like there would be people in the gym next to me and I was like, well, Dan, all of them over there are doing Larsen's press and all of them over there are doing Spoto press. Why do I only just regular bench? He's like, Tamara, you ain't got a weakness that needs the Spoto or Larsen's press. So I'm not giving it to you just because it's a craze right now. And that's the way that I operate with my clients now too. Just making sure that I point out the little things that a lot of big coaches do not.
Yeah. And I think it's really tempting to just rush up, up in weight. Cause you're like, that's the measurement that we say like, oh, you can lift this much. And that's like, okay, that's how good you are. Right. A fascinating point for me that I'd love for you to take us inside. Like, how is it? And maybe I should back up, because I will say you did injure, you were benching, you injured you popped a pec, as you say. Tell us what popping a pec is.
Oh my goodness.
And what that feels like.
It feels like the thickest rubber band you know. I think about one of those bands that you use in the gym to warm up with, like the stretchy bands.
Yeah.
Think about that pulling to max capacity and you hearing it ripple and pop under your skin. So I literally was benching 391. This was 2 weeks out from my next competition, which would have been in 2023. Yeah. 2022, actually. Sorry, 2022. So the bar is coming down. I have 391. Felt great. Everything looks good. No indicating signs that this was going to happen. And I literally heard a pop and my shoulder collapsed. couldn't open my fingers. My coach was there. He pulled Connor pulled the bar up. I still couldn't get my fingers loosen out. As soon as they opened my fingers, my arm just dropped. So I literally popped my pec clean off the bone. Clean off the bone. So it was 100% tear. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we can see your arm is still attached to you. So I assume, did you have to have surgery or?
I did have surgery. I literally had the moment that Lizzie Vaughn had, because I popped my pectoral and I was like, I can still squat and bend. I can squat and I can still deadlift because I'm only 2 weeks out. Like, as an athlete, you train so long and so hard all these weeks for one moment, and then you're like, you couldn't pop after competition? Like, what? You know?
Right.
So, but I did have surgery. So my surgery was a week later. My surgeon, absolutely amazing. So literally he always tells me now, girl, you got a bionic arm. That pec ain't going nowhere. So they had to put like I forgot what they call it, but they reconnected everything. They put an anchor in there, and about 6 months in, I started benching the bar again.
So you're back. We did it brick by brick.
Yeah.
1 pound at a time.
Yep.
So I'm curious about what it takes to kind of build that, to put those bricks in place. And I think a lot of, again, we see you on the stage and it's almost like a performance. It's this exciting thing. But what's behind that is putting in the hours. And I wonder if you can talk to me about what you think, I think about motivation as something like, I have a goal and I want to win this competition or lift this amount of weight or run this many miles. But it takes a lot of something else, and that is just consistency and dedication. And what roles do dedication versus motivation play in your life? What's the difference, and what role do they play in your life?
Motivation died off 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not here because I'm unmotivated. Because just like the other person down the street or the person getting ready to go to the gym right now, some days I'm like stomping like a 2-year-old, going out the front door, pissed in my car until I get there. The hardest part's getting there. So I'm dedicated to this. I'm dedicated to this. Like, I pay my phone bill every month. When I pick up the phone, I want to be able to call you. I'm dedicated to this. Like, I pay the light bill. I'm dedicated. Like, I pay my kids' jujitsu class. I'm dedicated to this. I'm not motivated by any of this. Right. And I think it's important for people to understand that there's a major difference in doing this and being motivated or dedicated, right? Dedication stays there forever, right? That's the consistent, relentless drive to do what you said that you were going to do from when you started remembering your why. Motivation's like, oh, I lost the 10 pounds and that's all I wanted to lose and I'm done there. I still work in corporate America. I am a coach and I coach more than 100 athletes right now. Like, I think I'm over 100 right now.
Wow.
I still work in corporate America 4 days a week.
Yeah. And you have kids.
I manage 2 multi-million-dollar assets as a property manager. I work from 9 to 5 every single day. While coaching people, while still being a mom, while still being a girlfriend, while still owning a dog that I have to walk at night because he's leash reactive. Like, there's so much that people don't see. Yeah. And I know that sounds like a lot, but at the end of the day, I'm dedicated and I stick to my schedule, and I'm not here because I'm motivated. I'm here because I'm doing this for me. And that's what I pour into everyone. Like, you can get it done. I actually have, on this podcast, we also give some advice, Tamara, and I have a letter that was written to me asking for advice that is, I think I'm going to read it to you now because I think a lot of what you just said, we're going to want to apply to this letter writer. Can I read you this letter? And will you help me give some advice? Yes. I have a feeling you're going to be pretty good at that. Okay. Dear Sugar, I'm a 39-year-old woman with 2 beautiful children, ages 3 and 5. Which we both know you're in the trenches when you've got kids 3 and 5, right? Yeah, that's when I started. That's right. Okay. I have 2 beautiful children, ages 3 and 5, and a great husband and a full-time job. Okay. We've got some things in common, right? Mm-hmm. When I have a moment to think about my life, I feel nothing but sheer gratitude.
I want to say that before I complain to you about how hard my life feels on a daily basis. Most nights I fall into bed exhausted by the endless struggle to balance it all: work, kids, the house, getting dinner on the table, fulfilling extended family obligations, and everything else. There's a lot of joy in our chaos, but I often feel overwhelmed and vaguely resentful. My husband feels overwhelmed too. Last summer, we had a talk about how we both needed more quote unquote me time. And we specifically wanted to get more regular exercise back into our lives. So we made a schedule. 3 times a week, we each get an hour or two to do our thing. It's worked out really well for him. He doesn't even hesitate to get out the door to go to the gym or run with a friend or attend his weekly yoga class. I, however, am a different story. I occasionally use my time to go for a hike or bike ride, but most of the time I do things like make a Costco run, which admittedly is much more relaxing when you don't have 2 preschoolers in tow. Or I'll stay home and organize a messy closet, because how else is it ever going to get done? Or I'll end up skipping my me time altogether and opting to join my family on an outing, even though my husband assures me he can take the kids on his own. I used to love to exercise. I didn't do anything major, but I moved my body and worked my muscles, and I always appreciated how that made me feel both physically and emotionally. It was part of my daily life until I became a mom, but now I can't seem to get back to it. I think what's going on is I have this nagging sense of mom guilt that says when I have time away from my kids, I need to be productive in some way that benefits my family rather than just benefits me. I feel stuck, and I wonder if you have any words of wisdom for me, Sugar. How do I break out of this pattern of resisting something I know will be good for me? Signed, Formerly Fit. Okay. We relate to this letter, don't we?
So much. Formerly Fit, I would have thought that I wrote that letter,
Wow.
at one point in my life. Like, I think so many women have written that letter, whether they wrote it, said it out loud, thought about it. And mom guilt is so loud, even when it's so silent. Like my grandmother used to say, silence is deafening, right? I remember moments in the beginning where it's like, hey, I'm going to the gym, right? And this is me at my biggest weight, thinking that I'm doing something great for myself. But people are like, oh, really? Like no one cheered for me. No one cheered me on. No one encouraged me. So I would say to Formerly Fit, do not let mom guilt stop you, because you have to remember your why you're doing it. You loved fitness and how it made you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally. So before you go to Costco, girl, go to the gym and then go to Costco. Okay? Do that for you, because you have that hour to spend for you. So 30 minutes in the gym and then 30 minutes in Costco is your hours. And it's okay to tell hubby, hey, my 30 minutes, I'm using it or I'm actually going to take my whole hour in the gym. So just know my neck, I'm going to be an hour and 30 minutes today, because I'm going to Costco as well and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Mom guilt's loud. I remember hearing it when I would be in the gym, and my friends would call and like want to go to Cheesecake Factory, and like, oh, I can hear the weights in the back, sounding annoyed because I was missing Cheesecake Factory over trying to save my life. I remember feeling like what she felt like when my mom, before all the records, didn't understand why I spent so many hours and in the gym in itself. Like, but the kids are with you, mom. You're right across the street. You wanted to spend the day with them, so this is what I'm gonna spend my hours doing. So I remember how loud it was. But I'm also gonna say to you, Formerly Fit, like I looked my kids in the eyes early. I think I was like 2018. So by 2019, I looked at them. I said, listen, mom is doing this and I have to do this to save my life. I was 2 cheeseburgers away. I was in a dark place of I would buy an outfit this week and then the next week it couldn't fit. Like I could not do the yo-yo dieting anymore, and it wasn't healthy for me and it wasn't healthy for them watching me live that way. So to Formerly Fit, be a little bit selfish with yourself. It is okay to pour into you, because the best you that you become is even better for your kiddos, right? Because you are going to show them better than you can tell them. You can say to them to be strong and healthy and to take care of themselves, but you can also show them. That's even better than just telling them. So that's what I say to her.
Well, and you've modeled that. Like your kids were little when you got back, when you, as you say, went back to the gym to save your life. Imagine if you hadn't done that, what might be happening now instead. that you can't get out there and do the things you do. Maybe you're on medications, maybe, there are all kinds of health consequences to not taking care of yourself. So Formerly Fit, we are both giving you a gigantic permission slip to do this, but I also, Tamara, because you are a coach, and I'm sure that you work with people, because it's hard to develop the habit of, getting back into fitness. I've certainly been there in my life. I've always been, I've always been an athlete, but then I've also had times where I was like, I haven't worked out much for a few years. And certainly that coincided for me as well with becoming a mother, because you're right. And I want to just say, Formerly Fit, we relate to this. We get it. Like, it is hard to get dinner on the table and work a full-time job and, all the things. You're exhausted for a reason, and it's because your life is exhausting. Okay.
But then also,
I
add, it's okay if the dinner is a microwavable meal. Don't
That's right.
about that. It's okay if the laundry sits there for an extra day or two. Don't worry about that. They got clean clothes in the closet. Like, it's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Formerly Fit, we're here. We're saying to you, you've got this. We're like,
girl.
We believe in you. Like the way back when Dan believed in Tamara, we're looking at you, girl, and saying,
sprinkling all that goodness on you. We believe in you, girl.
Tamara, I heard you say that you're thinking about this next chapter of your life. The words that come to mind to you are the rise.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
I've always stepped forward, but now I want to step up. So not only am I just stepping forward, I'm stepping up. So I think it's important for you to put one step in front of the other, but I really want to challenge myself on a climb this time. So I'm going up and I'm going forward. So yeah, that's what I consider the rise.
You're going to walk up and over that dang mountain. You're not just going to put your mind over it.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And if I can't walk up and over it, I'm going to go through it. God damn it.
Well, thank you, Tamara Walcott. Thank you. And I'm going to wish you the best of luck on whatever's next for you as you rise, dear sister.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to submit a letter seeking advice, you can send it to me at deardearsugar@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Happy trails, and I'll see you next week. Mind Over Mountain with Cheryl Strayed is an iHeart Women's Sports production, produced by Brittany Brown and Rodney Brown of Barbara Jean Productions. Supervising producer is Kaylin West at Realm. Associate producer, Amaya Brathwaite. Our executive producers are Molly Barton, Jerry Carita, Grace Fuse, and Jesse Katz. Our theme song is composed by Gramoscope Music. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Happy trails, and I'll see you next week.